Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2. 1. Mark.
Hello everyone, my name is Mark, aka Derringer. Today is Sunday, May 21st, and you are listening to episode 106 of the Instant Action Podcast, your weekly source for Planetside 2 news and information. As always, I'm brought to you by great listeners like you via the Support the Show tab on instantactionpodcast.com. First up this week, I need to apologize. I have not had a chance to play a heck of a lot of Planetside 2 this week, and it doesn't look like I'll get much of a chance next week either. I did play a bit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but after that, I've been absolutely swamped. I play in an indoor soccer league on Thursday nights, so I rarely play then anyways. I did score 5 goals that night, so it was sort of worth it to me. But that's why I didn't get a chance to play on Thursday night. And then I spent most of the day Friday. I took the day off from work so that I could open my pool for the summer. And for anyone who has a pool or anyone whose parents have a pool, you know that all pool openings never go perfectly. I've been fighting cloudy water in my pool all weekend. Not to mention that the water temperature is 65 degrees, so it's absolutely freezing cold. So even if I wanted to get into that pool to clean it or whatnot, there's no chance in hell that I am going into that pool. Then Saturday, in addition to fighting with the pool some more, I spent the day digging gardens and trying unsuccessfully to fix my grill, which won't continuously push propane out to the burners. There is no leak. There is no blockage that I could find. It's just being an absolute pain in the ass. I was so exhausted at the end of the day on Saturday that I went to bed at 8 p.m. and completely forgot about playing Planetside. Then Sunday today, Sunday mornings are my over 40 men's outdoor soccer league. Those are absolutely exhausting, brutal games. The rest of the day I spent making repairs to my deck, because we're having painters come over on Monday to power wash and paint it. So again, I am exhausted as I record this show right now. So if I mess something up or the show goes shorter than normal, I'm going to apologize in advance. Not to mention that I'm reading that there's a double XP weekend going on this weekend, and I completely missed all of it. And had I known that there was a double XP weekend going on, I probably would have forced myself to log in rather than go to bed early last night. So I'm certainly kicking myself for that also. Well, with the woes of home ownership and missing double XP weekends out of the way, what's in store for this week's show? Well, first, I want to talk about the recent run of suicide hackers in Planetside 2. Then I want to cover the May 19th PTS game update. Also, I want to talk about the PSForever birthday event that I missed, and finish up with some Second Life news. So strap in as we hot drop into another episode of the Instant Action Podcast. All right, as I said, first topic this week is suicide hackers within Planetside 2. If you're not aware or have not had a chance to play much like I have, then you probably don't know that we've seen a recent string of hackers within Planetside 2 recently. And what they are doing is they appear to be running some sort of script on their end which causes all players in the same hex as them to commit suicide. So you'll be just playing as normal, and then bam, you've committed suicide, and everyone around you has also committed suicide. You could try to respawn in that same hex, and you'll get hit by it a second, third, fourth, fifth. Who knows how many times in a row will you get slammed with being forced to commit suicide. There are quite a number of people with videos about this happening to them, and it is absolute dickbaggery on the side of the person or persons who are doing this. Apparently there is a website out there, which I will not name, that is selling this script to people who want to be dickbags in Planetside 2. The folks over at Daybreak Games, Raider X specifically, posted that they are aware of this and they are actively investigating and they are actively banning people as they do these things. So the devs are on it, and I know people have said that there have been broadcast messages in-game. Servers have been taken down for periods of time, things like that. I don't know if this has been completely stamped or squashed, but something that I would have expected BattleEye to catch beforehand, since BattleEye is supposed to be this grand catcher of all things hacking, and they're supposed to know when new stuff like this comes up and block it before it can happen. Maybe they can't affect a script like this. I'm not really sure. Again, I don't have all the information on how someone is doing this, because that's not something I care to even look into, being a player of this game, not someone who's looking to actively disrupt other people from playing this game. But again, if you are thinking of using this, have used this in the past, I will say it again, you are a dickbag, and I wish you would stop doing that and allow players to just play the game. I think at this point we're far enough along that most likely BattleEye will have been updated to catch stuff like this, but we could still see the devs in-game, monitoring and actively banning people that are running this. Hopefully when I'm able to log into the game again on Monday, Tuesday, some such, I will not run into this particular hack. If I do, I will be unhappy and will call people out as dickbags and yell chat as best that I can. So again, if you're not aware of it, it's going on, so you're not surprised when all of a sudden you get force suicided. It's not the game itself, it's just some dickbag hacking the game. Second topic this week, and this will probably be the longest one, is the May 19th PTS update, where we got some new combined arms changes as well as a whole bunch of other stuff. So starting with the combined arms, and we're going to talk about the Supernova PC. This is the Mag Rider's heat weapon. Damage was increased just a little bit because they felt that the damage over time was too low compared to the AP version. The Lightning, this is the Viper on the Lightning itself, its cone of fire was changed a bit, and what they did was they removed a second additional delay before the cone of fire would begin recovering. Recovery now begins instantly after fire rate completes, and they also doubled the recovery rate, which means the RPM when waiting for a complete recovery between shots is now set at 80. The Mjolnir, this is on your Vanguards or your Harassers. The damage was the damage was decreased slightly, as well as the magazine size was decreased slightly. The magazine certifications down from 3 ranks to only 2 ranks, from a total of 60 down to 48. They are going to be doing refunds on the line itself, cert refunds for those who have purchased it. And they've also reduced the reload speed down to 3 seconds. And the reason that they did this is because they felt that the magazine size upgrade was very strong compared to its counterparts, which are the Vulcan and the Aphelion. This change brings it closer in line with them. They also felt that this reload speed change helps compensate for the loss of the magazine size that they're putting in place. The damage change results in the same volleys to kill for most targets, but it should also fix an issue where one target type was getting killed one hit too soon for them. More on the Mjolnir, but also with the Vulcan and the Aphelion. This is for all main battle tank and harasser variants. The reload speed certifications changed to 20% reduction at max rank across each weapon. Rank 1 still starts at 10%. The Gatekeeper, this is on your Prowlers or your Harassers. They did update the animation for a new burst style. They're also going to be removing the magazine cert and refunding that to you. They felt that the revamp of the weapon no longer warranted the magazine size certification at all, and reload certification now scales from 5 to 10% instead of 0.1 second to 0.5 of a second. The halberd got a reload certification, which is now scaled from 5 to 10%, also instead of the 0.1 to 0.5 second, just like with the Gatekeeper's reload. The Enforcer and the Sauron for Vanguards, Mag Riders, and Harassers. The Enforcer reload certification used to be tuned around the continuous reload mechanic. It's now changed to match the Sauron, which is 15% reduction at max rank, 7.5% reduction at minimum rank. Moving on to the Canister, and this is on your Vanguards or your Harassers. The Vanguard variant's magazine size went from 10 down to 8, so that is a reduction. The Canister's damage went up from 5 to 85, and the Canister's rate of fire was reduced from 180 down to 120. Now, the reasons for these change is because on the initial PTS release, they had split these into two categories, and this is going to actually bring them back together, taking a little bit from each of them. They also got that same reload certification changes. It now scales from 7.5% to 15% instead of 0.1 second to 0.5 seconds. PPAs, and these are on your Mag Riders and your Harassers. The extended magazine size from 6 at max rank was reduced down to 4, and it also got that same reload certification scale that the Canister got. The Marauder also getting the same reload certification that both the Canister and the PPA got. Also, we're talking about some new changes to main battle tanks and lightning armor. The reinforced front, top, and side armor has been completely removed from the lightning and all main battle tanks, and damage has been retuned so that what was previously upgraded front armor is now close to what tanks' front and side armor is by default. Any certifications under those are going to be completely refunded to you when this does hit live. Moving on to C4. Throwing and detonating C4 should now be more smooth. There should be no more awkward delays or strange animations when you're throwing or detonating C4. They do also have a speculative fix for C4 not being thrown from the proper position that they're going to issue in a later PTS update. In addition to that, they changed the inner blast radius of C4 from 2 meters down to 1 meter, the outer blast damage from 10 to 100. The damage against a main battle tank from 80% health is now down to 50% health. And the damage against lightning went from 83.3% of health down to 62.5% of health. So as you can see, C4 is going to do a lot less damage to these two particular vehicles. Flanker armor is something new that is being added to lightnings and main battle tanks. It's going to be a new defensive slot item. The old flanker armor, it will be refunded on PTS. Basically, max rank flanker armor causes C4 to do 40% of a tank's health instead of 50%. So, for a main battle tank, before this change, a light assault could place one C4 on a tank and then set the tank on fire with one rocket volley or kill it with a volley to the rear. Now, a light assault will need to land one more rocket volley unless they decide to use both bricks of C4 on the same target. In addition to C4 that misses, will need to be closer to the tank to do full damage. So, without flanker armor, main battle tanks are going to be destroyed with 2 bricks. With flanker armor, 1 brick and 3 rocket volleys. Without flanker armor, 1 brick and 2 rear rocket volleys. With flanker armor, 2 bricks and 2 rocket volleys. Or also with flanker armor, 2 bricks, and 1 rear rocklet volley. So there's, as you can see, there's a couple different ways that you can use combination of bricks of C4 and rocklet volleys now to kill main battle tanks, a little different than it was before. Next, we're going to go over a list of different ammo capacities that were changed across a bunch of different vehicle weapons. All right, there are quite a few of them. So starting off with the Python, this is going to be your AP variant or your Hesh variant. Ammo capacity increased to 36. Fully certed ammo capacity is now going to be 63. The Python, the Heat variant, ammo capacity is up to 48, and fully certed is going to be 84. Vipers went from down to 96 from 120. Fully certed is going to be down from 240 to 152. The Mag Riders Heat is the ammo capacity is up to 50, and fully certed is going to be 80. Mag Riders AP and Hesh from 25 up to 40, and fully certed from 50 to 64. The Vanguard's Heat from 25 up to 45, and fully certed it's going to be 72 now instead of 50. Vanguard's AP and Hesh, ammo capacity 35, fully certed 56. The Prowler's Heat went from 50 to 56, and fully certed from 100 down to 90. Prowler's Hesh, fully certed ammo capacity from 100 down to 80. The Prowler's AP, ammo capacity from 50 down to 46, and fully certed from 100 down to 72. The Halberd, ammo capacity from 30 up to 36, and fully certed from 60 up to 72. So as you can see, quite a few different ammo capacity and fully certed ammo capacity changes to all the various lightning and main battle tank weapons that are on the PTS right now. That's enough about vehicles. Let's move on over to infantry changes on the PTS now. There were a bunch of personal shield changes, and playing an engineer, I kind of like these, and it's going to be some interesting changes. But starting the shield delay before recharging, it is 10 seconds currently. It is being reduced down to 6 seconds. The engineers who already get a better shield recharge delay is going from 8 seconds down to 4 seconds. And the shield regeneration rate though, is going from 4 seconds to 6 seconds. So as you can see, it's going to start recharging faster, but the regeneration rate itself is going to be slower. The feeling is that it's going to help mitigate stagnant gameplay around choke points, while also increasing survivability in open-fielded fights. Advanced shield capacitor. This suit slot now increases the rate at which shield health regenerates instead of reducing the delays before recharging. Rank 1 shields are going to regen over 4 seconds. As you get on to rank 5, shield regen is going to be over 3 seconds, and it's just going to be a very slight step down from 4 down to 3, as you can see. And like I said, it makes the advanced shield capacitor kind of feel a little less exciting as an engineer as it did before. For Medic's shield recharging field and any other shield recharging effects, we may possibly see some adjustments, as well as some other elements of the game, EMPs, capture point benefits, implants, etc., could be made pending feedback from the test server itself. The NSX Tengu got some changes. Animations on it were refined, and you can now actually use attachments outside of VR training. And then the big change, and I talked about this a bit last week, is implants. But these implants are now all live out there on the PTS, whereas before you could see them, but you couldn't equip them. So these are all also in the implant bundles. Nightmare is knife kills cloak the user for a short amount of time, and we found that is not being restricted just to infiltrators. Anybody can use that, and I know some people have been testing this and finding that they're able to use their weapons while they are cloaked. After using Nightmare, they're able to shoot their guns and stuff like that while cloaked. So Nightmare is being made more and more interesting. Carapace is a new one that I didn't talk about last week, but got added. And what that's going to do is replace your shield bar with an additional health bar. And I know a lot of people said, well, what's the point of that? And it makes me think that something like a resto kit could be a lot more usable within the game if you're using this carapace instead, because obviously you don't have a med kit or anything, or in this case a resto kit that replaces your shields. But if you're using carapace now, you could pop a resto kit and watch your double health bars jump up a lot. Aerial combatant, this is the regenerating jump jet fuel upon killing enemies for light assaults. Combat surgeon, revives and kills are going to restore nano regen device energy. As you'll note, revives were added to this. It used to just be headshots. It's now revives and kills. Nanomesh specialist for heavy assault is going to reduce the downtime for depleted overshields. The robotics technician, the one I'm looking forward to the most, it's going to increase the armor of nearby deployables you own. It's also going to let you, at the highest rank, put down either 2 hard light barriers or 2 Spitfire turrets. I'm looking forward to that like you wouldn't believe. And finally, the comm hacker for the infiltrator. Close range kills are going to reveal nearby enemies in real time on your minimap. And as I said, if you max the rank out on this one, you're also going to be able to see cloaked enemies as an infiltrator, which I think is huge. Moving on to directives. The basic training directive has been restructured completely to what they feel is a more natural progression for a new player, and it should allow easier completion early on. So starting off at Tier 1, you're going to have to change your class, you're going to have to use join combat, and you're going to have to redeploy. Simple things that any player should learn early and use often. At Tier 2, you're going to have to kill enemies, you're going to have to capture a base, and you're going to have to defend a base. Again, that makes perfect sense for me. Tier 3, you're going to have to pull a lightning, you're going to have to pull an Empire-specific fighter, that's your Scythe, that's your Mosquito, that's your Reaver. And the third thing is you're going to have to kill enemies from the gunner seat of a vehicle. I kind of like that one. And the final tier, you're going to have to change continents. That will force some new players to get off of Indar. And finally, you're going to have to earn experience with a squad, so forcing new players to get into a squad for squad play as well. I do like the new layout of this, and I do think it lends itself well to a new player just joining the game and having some basic training directives kind of push you around to do all these kinds of things. And the majority of them, the first 6 or so are all things that you're going to learn in the tutorial also. So it's just going to further reinforce what you get in that tutorial. Next up, and last thing I'm going to talk about, is the world design. Amherst has a bit of a revitalization being done to it, which means it's gotten many visual adjustments, bug fixes, and base adjustments. But the most notable is that the biolabs on Amherst now have the opaque shields on them. That means you can no longer see through and into the biolab, and that should be an FPS increase for the majority of people playing Planetside 2. I do know that there were also quite a few other changes. Things like the teleporters have a more focused direction of combat. They're going to push them more towards the airpads. Airpad entrances are going to have much better cover than they currently do on live. There's going to be fewer angles of attack to each teleporter, which means less crossfire for people camping teleporters. It also should allow attackers to get out of teleporter rooms a little bit easier. I expect light assaults to be able to get out a lot easier. Really, though, you need to go onto the PTS and check out these biolabs yourself if you're curious about what the new biolab interiors on Amherst are going to look like. And I like them, so I will be happy to see these things come to live. Last, there are just a couple bug fixes to PTS stuff that they've done. But overall, a very interesting second round of changes to the combined arms stuff, as well as other things out there on the PTS. As always, I recommend you go and download the PTS and play around with it, because any suggestions that you want to make, you need to have a succinct way of explaining them, and the only way to do that is to play around with them on the PTS and then go ahead and provide your feedback. So with that, let's move on to next topic. Third topic this week is the PSForever team's Planetside 14th birthday event, which, as I said at the beginning of the show, I missed, and I'm a little unhappy that I missed out on this because I really wanted to see what these guys have done. My hat is off to them because what they've been able to create for or out of the ashes of Planetside, and actually kind of bring stuff that people can actually play around with, is nothing short of awe-inspiring to me. Again, I'm sad that I missed out on this event. I really wanted to take part in it because, as they say, they've been progressing very nicely over the last couple of months, and they've been working greatly to protect against hacking. So they actually introduced an anti-hack system, which, while they say it's still primitive, they're going to be ironing out issues in the future, as well as adding other detection details. They've also implemented Game Master and CSR commands in-game, and it will allow the CSR team to grab players' data and kick them from the server as necessary. They've also built a player report system, which utilizes their Discord server. And they've also released a prototype interactive console for administering the server out of game. It's interesting. They're doing so much over there. And someone joked that they've put more things into Planetside than Daybreak Games has put into Planetside 2 recently. I don't know that that's true, but they have been doing a lot of other gameplay features being added into the game, and the next thing they have slated is to involve every vehicle in the game and a continuing refinement of any existing classes they have. I've heard a few people that played around in the event this weekend and had a great time. I hope that they have another one of these in the near future. I'm going to include a link to the Reddit post, so if you guys are curious about PSForever and what the team is doing, or if you want to offer your assistance to them, because they're always looking for people to help them out in recreating Planetside, you can certainly, I believe the website for them is PSForever.net. Please go and check them out and help them if you can. Planetside was, I can say was at this point because it's dead, was a great game. And anything that someone can do to keep Planetside alive, even if it's in a slightly different state, gets 2 thumbs up from me. All right, last topic this week before I get into the mailbag is something that I read about Second Life. Now, I've never played Second Life, and even some people in this post said Second Life is still a thing. People are still playing Second Life. But someone on Reddit discovered that someone in Second Life for the past couple years now has actually been selling items within Second Life using the Nanite Systems logo and brand name. And the products in question are components for people to play as sex robots within Second Life. Now, that in itself is amusing, but when this guy did the actual conversion of Second Life currency, I believe they're Linden dollars. You can convert Linden dollars into US dollars. About 1,000 Linden dollars is $4 or so. So the creator of the Nanite Systems brand in Second Life has a decent-sized customer base of like 2,000 people. And if they're not counting any extra stuff they're selling, it's not a stretch to think that they've probably made 10 to 20,000 US dollars over the past 2 years selling sex robot components to people within Second Life. I find this absolutely hilarious, but I'm now wondering if Daybreak Games is going to go after this person with their legal department because they're using the Nanite Systems name and the Nanite Systems logo within Second Life itself. Again, I think this is absolutely hilarious. I'm going to include a link to the Reddit post on this, so if anybody's curious, they can actually go and look at the. There's a whole Imgur library of pictures from inside Second Life, showing the office space of Second Life and all the things that you can buy within Second Life itself. It is a little not safe for work, so you shouldn't browse this stuff while you're at work, but still kind of hilarious nonetheless. And it's the lighter side of Planetside 2, and that's why I'm reporting something like this to you guys, because, again, I've never played Second Life. I've had no desire ever to play Second Life, but I'm sure some people listening to the show have played Second Life or are still playing Second Life at this time. If you are a sex robot in Second Life, instantactionshow@gmail.com.
Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Housekeeping.
Not now.
Housekeeping.
Go away.
I coming anyway?
All right. I didn't get an email, but I did have a post on last week's show from Cancerion that I wanted to read and talk about. So he wrote, the vehicle Zerg spawn conundrum could be solved by Planetside 1 style nanite silos for bases. If the base nanites ran dry, you couldn't pull anything requiring nanites. It made ants the integral and necessary part of the game. The construction system is garbage. It should be in place to beef up defense at bases, not just create pseudo-bases with little purpose or value other than victory points. Cancerion, I agree 100% on everything you said, and that's why I wanted to read this on this week's show, because if we were to add nano silos to every base, it would absolutely crush any sort of vehicle Zerg, because you could only pull so many. And then the ants would be made very important to the game itself, rather than just mining cordium and building construction bases that not everybody even plays at or wants to play at. And I've always been in agreement saying that the construction system should be able to build on existing bases, and then therefore orbital strikes should be able to affect existing bases and things like that. So, Cancerion, we are exactly 100% on the same page. And if the devs listen to this, I hope they listen to what you wrote, because like I said, I agree with it. So that is going to be it for this week's show, though. How can you get in touch with me or the show? Like I said, if send me, first off, you can visit my website, www.instantactionpodcast.com. If you are a sex robot in Second Life, you can email me at instantactionshow@gmail.com. Even if you're not and you have a question or anything about the show, you can send it there too. If you are a sex robot in Second Life, you can call me and leave me a voicemail at 347-486-4772. That's 347-4VM-4PS2. That's not my home phone number, so my wife won't get upset. The show's Twitter is at InstActPodcast. Feel free to tweet me if you are a sex robot in Second Life. Also, sex robots in Second Life, feel free to follow me personally at The Derringer. So in closing, if you've enjoyed the show, whether you're a sex robot in Second Life or not, please leave me a review on your podcast listening avenue of choice, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere else. Also, feel free to tell your friends and outfit mates about the show. And finally, thanks for listening, and keep spamming that Join Combat, formerly known as Instant Action button.